All right. Well, as they say, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So I'd like to welcome you all. My name is Stacy Jacob. Myself and my colleague Mike Dawson with the World of Pinot Noir are excited to have you here with us today and get us moving forward with really the final week of World of Pinot Noir Wine Month. I can't tell you how awesome it's been to see all of you in this new virtual setting. It's been quite a month, I have to tell you. We've had over a dozen seminars. I can't even tell you how many Instagram Live, Facebook Live, but the connections to more than 80 winemakers really across the world, but primarily up and down the West Coast. Today, we're going to really zero in on the Sonoma Coast AVA, and really excited with this esteemed panel that we have here, and really excited for all of you. And I need to thank all of our attendees today too. We did have some logistical challenges due to weather, so thank you all for pivoting. And this session was supposed to be last Thursday, but we're gathered here today. So without further ado, as I mentioned, we're focusing on the Sonoma Coast AVA. I have to tell you, an area that I do not know much about, and I'm so excited to learn today because there is a lot of differences and a lot of variations. And what I've learned just through our practice sessions with these winemakers, you're really in for some great education today, some fantastic wines, and really some great storytelling. But to lead us through the day, it's really my pleasure and honor to bring you Keith Beavers, the tasting director of VinePair. Keith is a wine lover, self-taught wine geek. He's owned a retail shop as well as wine bar and restaurant. And he was just telling me a few minutes ago, he's busier today now reviewing wines and talking about what he loves, which is teaching and the stories about wine. And so if you haven't checked out his podcast, Wine 101, please do. Keith is joining us from New York, which is another great opportunity because I'll be honest, it's sometimes really hard to get you guys out from the East Coast to the West Coast for World of Pinot Noir. So we're excited to have you with us today, Keith. So without further ado, Keith, welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm honored to be part of this. This is really awesome. And I look forward to talking about this part of the country, this part of the world. It's very cool, very important. And is it just getting started? I don't know. Maybe it is. So today let me introduce myself. My name is Keith Beavers. I am the tastings director of VinePair. I am also the host of a podcast called Wine 101. And that's me. That's me. So I think what we should start with is introducing the people that actually make the wine. So joining me today are winemakers from the Sonoma Coast. And real quick about the Sonoma Coast, it's a very unique AVA in the United States. It's a place that has about 18 different AVAs in it. This area of California is extremely diverse. The geography is extremely diverse. And people have just been running around trying to find awesome places to plant grapes and make awesome wine. And it's almost overwhelming, but awesome at the same time to explore. And today we're just going to start with one place, which is the Sonoma Coast. It is a large appellation in Sonoma County, and it goes very far north towards, here we are, it's very far north towards the coast. It also goes down to the south, and you'll notice where it says Sonoma Coast on the map, you go to a little bit inland than that, you see the Green Valley and Russian River Valley, which is also part of it. So what's unique about this place is it has such a diversity of climate and geography that when you're towards the coast and a little bit inland, you get this great influence of the Pacific Ocean. It's really wonderful about California. Every time there's a gap in a coastal range, you're probably going to find a wine region. And what's awesome about the inland part of the Sonoma Coast, is the Russian River Valley itself and the fog it creates. It kind of is a convergence of awesomeness. And that's just a general thing. I don't want to get too involved because I have people that know much more than I do. So I want to introduce the people that we're going to be talking to tonight. We're talking to Jen Walsh. Introduce yourself.
Hi, Jen Walsh with La Crema Wines.
And we also have Michael Acruso.
Hey everybody, Michael Acruso. I'm the winemaker at En Route Winery.
We also have Alicia Sylvester.
Hi, I'm Alicia Sylvester, the winemaker for Banshee Wines.
And we have John Priest.
Hi there, I'm the senior winemaker for Etude Wines.
So with that little introduction, I think we should start talking about the wines. Where you guys grow your grapes, what you encounter here, and what you do to make Pinot Noir awesome. So I guess if you guys have a glass and have a bottle, let's start pouring so we can just start enjoying ourselves. Is it Friday? I don't even know what day it is. It doesn't matter. So we'll start with the Banshee. And Alicia, why don't we talk? Can you guys green screen? This is actually the Sonoma Coast behind me. It's Fort Ross Seaview. It's pretty cool. But Alicia, do you want to let's talk about your approach?
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about Banshee, and then I'll talk a little bit more about the wine that we have today. So the wine that you want to be pouring that's in our glass, 2018 Whistler Vineyard from the Sonoma Coast. So Banshee is, we're more known for our Sonoma County. That's our big label. That's how we started. We're founded by our Sonoma County Pinot Noir. And that's very diverse because it comes from all over Sonoma County. But what we really like to specialize in, and what you'll find in our tasting room, are the DTC, so my direct to consumer, my small batch single vineyard wines. We're making 200 cases. And in this case, for the Whistler, if we go back to that, map, I can show you exactly where it is. We're going up to Annapolis, right at the top of the AVA and almost the furthest. I still see that we're not on the AVA map, but it would be great if we could have that visual again. There we go. So you can see how there's an awful lot of diversity in Sonoma County and why it's great for growing grapes in general. But you can see how big the Sonoma Coast AVA, it really helps us and really helps our Pinot for optimal ripeness and just optimal hang time, phenolic ripening, and really holding on to our acid. So up in Annapolis, my vineyard is about, let's say, 10 miles from the ocean. And so we're getting huge Pacific Coast influence, just a lot of influence there. It's about an hour and a half trip from Healdsburg up to Annapolis. And it's a mixed clones that we have in our vineyard. It's a small vineyard. Let me see, how many acres is it actually? 3.1 acres I have it to see. With mixed clones, we got Pomard, 115, 667, and 777. The little parcel actually is dry farm. So we irrigate at the beginning. Once the vines are established, we really train those vines to get their roots deep, deep down. Because also with the coastal influence, we have less minerals, but we have less nutrients in the soil. We have more of like mineral from the ocean. And that's really, really great, helps with our minerality, but it makes the vine struggle. And so that forces our roots to just get deep. We need them to get deep and established. So I invite you to take the glass. Let's see what's going on here. I really like this wine. It's a really delicious wine. Probably for me is my favorite to be food pairing with it. It's really just so luscious on the nose. I get lots of blueberry pies. And a lot of that also, you can tell like some herbaceous of like pine. And if you saw on that map, we're in the middle of forests, really up the Sonoma Coast is so great. And up in the Western Sonoma Coast is where we have teeny vineyards that are speckled all around and where you have a lot of forest around you. And that really influences the wine. Whereas when you have more valley floor fruit, you can see big vineyards that are just roaming and roaming. Let me take a second to enjoy this here. Yeah, this is wonderful barrel spice to it. How are you liking it over there, Keith? Tell me what you're getting. I see you're really digging in. You're muted.
You don't want to know what I'm saying. You just don't want to.
Okay.
I'm joking. No, I'm basically just agreeing with everything you're saying. That blueberry pie and spice, it's great. It's a unique. I love it when Pinot Noir brings that kind of spiciness out, but still retains its kind of soft fruit nature. It's very cool.
Definitely. I think Banshee, we don't try to be your typical wines. We're really try to be very much like, oh, what's going on? Keep you coming back, keep exploring with more. And having a lot of fun with the wine. That's what we're about. We like to be geeky and get all geeked out about it, me mostly. But for consuming, it's always, our Pinots are always ready to drink. And this one's showing really nicely right now.
Awesome. I'm just gonna agree. I mean, I don't know who out there is drinking with us, but I'm sure you will too. That's awesome. That's great. Thank you so much. So you're up there a little bit further than everybody else. It's a really cool place to start.
This wine, so I can tell you a little more technical facts too. With the fact sheet that you saw, we can bring it back so all of our wine geeks can really see it. The wine was actually harvested on September 20th with 25.4 bricks, 3.63 pH, and 7.1 acid. So that's a little fun facts there for you.
I like it.
Great.
I'm just taking it all in here. It's the first time I saw it, so that's cool. That's great.
Yeah. And so with this closing sign, I can just kind of go back to about, we have vineyards scattered throughout. Banshee was purchased by the Foley family wines, and our wines are leaning towards becoming all estate wines, where we have vineyards in the Los Carneros region. We have vineyards in Russian River, all scattered about. But then my focus is our DTC, these small single vineyard wines, where you can only really get them online from our tasting room or being our wine club. You can see some of our other more readily available wines all over. You can find, I think they have a beautiful display right now in some of the Safeways celebrating women, and Banshee's right there. So it's really exciting.
Awesome. That's
Enjoy.
great. Oh, I already did. I'm all done enjoying, but I'm not done enjoying, because now we were going to go to a different part. We're going to talk about La Crema, and Jen Walsh is going to throw down. I'm going to pour. She's going to throw down.
Thanks, Keith. Yeah, and it's good to follow Banshee because we're practically neighbors up there near Annapolis. We have vineyards that almost border each other, so we'll have to take a road trip up there, Alicia, from Healdsburg and save the gas. But,
yeah, that sounds good. I got my vaccine already, double, so we're ready to go. No masks in the car and everything.
But so just a little background, La Crema, we've been around for over 40 years now. We just celebrated our 40th anniversary last year. And our winery is based in the heart of the Russian River and really focusing always on cool climate Pinot, cool climate Chardonnay. We make wine from Willamette Valley. We make a Willamette Valley Pinot all the way down to Santa Rita Hills in Santa Barbara. So it's always influenced by the coast, and always Pinot and Chardonnay with, a little bit of Pinot Gris and Rosé and some sparkling to add it into the mix and make it even more interesting. But the wine I'm going to be talking about today is our Sealift Vineyard Pinot Noir. And you can see right up there in this map near the town of Annapolis that we were just talking about. Our vineyard is about 3 miles as the crow flies from the Pacific Ocean. And, that being said, it still takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to get there from any the nearest town. So it's a place, there's no cell phone reception, surrounded by redwoods. When I check vineyards, I wish I had some kind of weapon, because there's mountain lions, there's boar, there's, there's eagles flying. I'm trying to paint a picture of how remote this place is, and just how wild and interesting it is, and how close it is to the Pacific Ocean. And I certainly encourage you, Keith, to come out and visit, because it is I'm an East Coaster myself, and this is very different from just about any place on the East Coast.
Usually I don't love when I lose cell phone service, but I love losing cell phone service in Sonoma.
Well, unless I get a flat tire, I'm actually fine.
Unless I get a flat tire, then I'm not really cool with losing cell service in Sonoma. But it's amazing when you're driving. It's amazing when you're driving through and just like, okay, I have no phone. It's just myself and the mountain lions and the vineyards.
Right. So yeah, I make a lot of noise when I'm walking around, scaring them off. Anyway, but you know, the vineyard is, like I said, about 3 miles from the Pacific Ocean. So, you know, the Pacific Ocean is really cold, and I can't, you know, say that enough. It is very cold. There's fog, there's wind. But the cool thing about this vineyard is it sits at about 800 to 900 feet. So it's typically above the fog line, which gives it this a bit of a banana belt. So really warm, sunshiny days, helps to ripen the fruit, but really cold nights also. So you get this nice acidity. So it's sort of the best of both worlds. And Alicia, you know, touched on this a bit also. I mean, California, for better or for worse, a lot of our land has been created through tectonic activity. So the soils that we're growing these grapes in, these were once the bottom of the ocean floor. So you walk around and there's seashells, and it's, you know, like she was saying, it's very, it's not really fertile. It's great draining, well-draining soils. These are Gold Ridge loam soils, seashells. You know, it's kind of a Goldilocks place for me to make wine. And, you know, and I really love this site. And, you know, we could talk about winemaking till, you know, for hours, but we should probably talk about the characteristics of the wine too. So this wine spends about 10 months in barrel. It's hand sorted, berry sorted, a little bit of whole cluster there, you know, low pH, good acidity, moderate alcohol. And I get a lot of like kind of I don't want to say marmalade, but you know, there's these kind of orange zest and forest floor and you know, wild blackberry. And for me, it really conjures up when I'm walking the vineyard. I get some of the same characteristics in this glass, this sort of wild, you know, kind of hints of conifer, savory notes, a little mocha and anise.
I'm loving how close you are to the ocean and how deep this wine is. This has a beautiful concentration of fruit to it. And you know, often when you think about coastal influences, you think the acidity level goes up.
Right.
But here we have this beautiful dark concentration of fruit, but the acidity's there. It
Right.
has the depth is there, but the acidity is there, which gives you all those awesome aromas that just kind of pop out.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, there's a richness to it. There's a really nice texture, but there's also acidity to back it up, and you know, it goes well with food. I would also encourage, even though this is our current release, the 17, we hold it back a little bit because we like to see some evolution in the bottle. But I would probably decant this also. I think it is a wine that could be decanted or pour a glass and sip it and let it evolve over the course of a meal.
It's already evolving actually since I poured it. So that's really cool. Awesome. Sorry, I just gotta get one more sip here.
Yeah, and while he's sipping, I'll just tell you a little bit about this. This is Sarah Lee's barn. So our home base is in the heart of the Russian River Valley, near the town of Santa Rosa, kind of in the center of Sonoma County. This is a 100-year-old barn that we've renovated to be a tasting destination. So even during COVID, it's been really great to have this because there's so many outdoor spaces where you can sort of taste and enjoy, but still be safe. And as the world is opening up again, there's, you know, I hope everyone comes out and comes and visits us. We make a number of single vineyard wines that, you know, would love to share with you.
That barn is beautiful.
Yeah, and you should see the inside. I really, you know, hope you can come out and visit. It's a spectacular place.
Well, I have my in-laws live in Petaluma, so.
All right, good.
Wait to
no
be
excuse.
with them, and I will be. Are you kidding me? I don't know if I'm going to say hi, in-laws. I love you.
Bring them along.
Yeah, you know, I'll bring them along. Totally. So now we can move on. We're going to keep on getting deeper into the AVA, and to do that, we're going to talk to Michael Acrusa.
Hey, everybody. Just wanted to talk about the diversity that the Sonoma Coast brings. And much like that first table, or Yeah, we were actually, I think we switched up yeah, there we go.
There we go. There we go.
There's me.
Yeah.
I think we did too, but that's okay.
Are you
Tell
okay
you
with
what,
that,
you talk
John?
about Etude and I'll talk about en route. How'd that?
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. I live really close to Etude, so that would make my commute really nice. I would appreciate that. So En route is a label that Farniente and Nickel created back in the mid 2000s. Just a little bit of a background to it. And they started sourcing grapes from Russian River at that time, and then finally got a footprint in Sonoma County in the town of Sebastopol. And our production winery is over there in the Pinot Ghetto North, like with Red Car and Cross Barn. And there's just like this big industrial complex. And Faust and Flowers are over there too. So not much to look at, but some really fantastic wines coming out of this big industrial complex over there. And it's a stone's throw away from some of the best vineyard sourcing in Sonoma County. Kind of the gateway into Green Valley, which is one of the sub AVAs that Keith was talking about in the Sonoma Coast. And that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit here. Both John and I are presenting wines from there. And something that's really unique and nice about the Sonoma Coast is the broadness. And there is those, what we call sometimes is the true Sonoma Coast. And that's kind of what Alicia and Jen were just talking about. And then as the Sonoma Coast broadens and goes inland, there's these sub AVAs in different areas like Green Valley, where, you know, as the crow flies, yeah, see, we're so far in, you can't even see the ocean, but it's still the Sonoma Coast. But it's right kind of right there. You see Marty's Vineyard and Northern Spy and En route winery. So as you kind of follow that Highway 116 that heads out to the Pacific Ocean and dumps out in Jenner, that's following the Sonoma Coast AVA border the whole way. So something that happens when you start moving a little bit inland and away from the coast is there is a little bit more of a soil structure, but like Jen was talking about, it's all this Gold Ridge loam. So it's this old sediment that was at the bottom of the ocean, and it's very fine and sandy. And it looks like in August and early September, when you're out there sampling vineyards, like you have a whole bunch of talcum powder all over your pants and in boots, because it's just like white, super sandy, but great drainage. But amazingly, it retains a whole bunch of acidity, which is fantastic. And really important for Pinot Noir, because it's easy for Pinot to drop acid out. And once you get that, you start getting a really flabby, kind of overly ripe wine that doesn't have a lot of structure or balance to it. So one of the reasons I chose the Northern Spy Vineyard, it's an estate vineyard that we own, and two, it has a grab bag of clonal selections there. So it's got a few Dijon clones. You know, it's got 777 and 115 and 667, which kind of, to me, bring forward that like rooty tooty, fresh and fruity characteristic of Pinot Noir. Lots of candied fruit, lots of bright cherries and kind of preserves. But then we have some really unique clones like Swan and 2A, the old Wadensville clone. And then we also have some Mount Eden's, the clone 37. And the blending process that goes into making this single vineyard designate is like my favorite part, because you literally, it's like layering a cake. And what I do is I get like those high fruit notes as like the top layer, right? And then you get some structure and kind of like integrity with the 2A and the Wadensville and that Swan to kind of be that. And then like clone 37, I don't know if you guys have worked with it much, but the Mount Eden is like this big brooding clone, and that is kind of like the backbone and the tail end of it too. So it's one of this just like amazingly structured and deep and layered wines that is kind of unlike a lot of things that I've seen before. But, you know, that entry with a lot of dried rose petals and kind of potpourri, and then even almost a little bit of a bergamot tea characteristic and just a touch of the compost. And then you get into a good, real nice acid structure in the backbone of it. And it just has like a long lingering finish. So just a really like delicate but dense wine.
I'm freaking out right now because this is crazy. We're basically experiencing terroir right now, IRL. This is really cool because of how different this is from the other one, which is different than the other one. I'm sorry. Go on. I apologize.
Yeah, no, and it's good. And part of the reason I think that this seminar is so important and we're showcasing these different places within this AVA is the fact that, you know, the true Sonoma Coast out on the edge of the coastline is going to inherently bring a different like sense of wine and structure to the wines that are made there. And you don't have to go very far inland to have a completely different profile. If you look at the chemistry of these wines, and I don't think that I actually have it listed here, but I can tell you, I mean, I'm not going to lie, it's a little bit on the heavy-handed side with the alcohol. It's probably 14.6, but also really nicely balanced with a 3.55 pH and a 6.5 gram per liter TA. It's just one of these things that it just expresses the site more so than anything. And one of the unique things too, talking about Sonoma Coast and all the different vineyard sourcings that we have is vineyards that are across the street from each other, or even across, you know, a avenue or a row in a vineyard. I couldn't make those wines taste the same if I tried. You know, they're really going to show what they want to show, and it's my job to just kind of tame them and let them express. Pinot Noir is also very schizophrenic. Like people who try and tame it, it's almost like insanely possible, right? Because it's going to go wherever it wants to go, and it's going to do what it wants to. And our job is just to kind of like rein it in and show its beautiful nature at the end of it. So this wine specifically sees probably 35% new oak, all French oak, of course. I don't do anything more than 30% whole cluster. And that helps kind of bring some tension to the wine with some of that stem occlusion, but also like with those Dijon clones that I was talking about, it kind of helps have that fruit sit above the rest of the wine too, and kind of make that pop a little bit. We do have some concrete fermenters that I like to run, again, the Dijon cones through because it has some really nice aromatic profile retention with it. But it never really gets like the concentration of color that I'm looking for. Yeah, so that's pretty much the wine in a nutshell, but it's fun. It's a really unique place. Like it's really cool to talk about this with other winemakers because all of these sites are totally different. And we're doing a lot of different things from like stone's throws away from each other.
I can't imagine what it's like you guys hanging out and talking. Like my Pinot tastes like this. My Pinot is like this is just it's really phenomenal. I mean the like you said, the tension in this wine is real, and that stem inclusion is adding to the complexity of the wine. It's just this is the third Pinot Noir we tried, and every single one is different. I just love that diversity. I mean, you can just tell that's diversity right there. When you're tasting, you know, we're tasting wines from one AVA, and oh my gosh, every single one is different. That's awesome. It's just great. I'm just making comments because I'm just having so much fun. So now we're going to kind of like round this all off with John Priest from Etude.
Right on. Thanks, Kev. Keith, yeah, this is a great panel to be on, and love to be able to present our wines. Etude is down in Carneros and has been there since the inception of the AVA back in 1982, 1983. Interestingly, in 2000, we planted the Grace Benoit Ranch, which is over in the very northwest corner of Carneros, in Sonoma Carneros, just at the base of Sonoma Mountain, which in fact is in Sonoma Coast. And it couldn't be further away from Annapolis, where Jen and Alicia are sourcing. In fact, I was making a wine from a vineyard out there. We called it Ellenbach because to get there from Etude, it took 3.5 hours one way. And to get there, you'd have to go to hell and back. So it made a really good name, Ellenbach. But much like some of these other winemakers, we're also producing wines, not only from our estate in Carneros, the Grace Benoit Ranch, but also up in Oregon, Willamette Valley, in Yamhill, Carlton. We're partners in the Fiddlesticks Vineyard down in Santa Rita Hills, the North Canyon Vineyard in Santa Maria. And then we've had a Sonoma Coast bottling since 2012. And we've always been with the Emeritus Vineyard folks. First, we were with that Ellenbach Vineyard out in Annapolis. They sold that vineyard, so then we moved over to Pinot Hill, which is just sort of in the the northwest corner of the Petaluma Gap in the Sonoma Coast. Then in 2017, we had the chance to move over to Hallberg, which is their estate ranch just off the Gravenstein Highway north of Sebastopol. So this is a small bottling. We bring in about maybe 5 or 6 tons a year. We sell it to our direct-to-consumer folks. You can find it here at the winery with all those other great wines I just mentioned. And it really is an exploration a little bit about these different sites and different vineyards. And you were talking before about the diversity. Yeah, you can go to the Great Benoit Ranch and go across 2 different soil types and have 2 different wines. So it's really great to be able to work with Hallberg, working with 4 different clones off of the 10 that they have out there. This ranch is about 110 acres. Again, it's on that Gold Ridge soil with a fairly shallow, hard mud pan of mudstone and sandstone. So it really does has that well-draining soil that was described so well earlier, but it has that hard pan that kind of holds a little bit of water. So this vineyard has been dry farmed since 2007. They claim, the Emeritus folks, that it's the largest dry farm vineyard in Sonoma County. I don't know if I believe that or if I don't believe it, but they do claim that. And it's farmed by Kirk Loca, who is, they broke the mold with Kirk. He's a great guy. He comes from Sonoma itself. He's been growing grapes all his life. He is really a bootstrap farmer, with his suspenders and hat, and he knows vineyards so well. But not only that, he really knows winemakers. And when you're working with a vineyard like this, it has so many different parcels and different clones and different manifestations with a number, and they sell to a number of different wineries. You really have to be a good farmer, but half psychologist as well to kind of deal with all these personalities. Kirk is a great guy. Really, really love him. So we're sourcing from, like I said, 4 different clones. And if you see this vineyard here, right in the middle, you see the winery. Just above that is the Gravenstein Highway, Highway 116. Everything to the west is in Green Valley, but just those small little parcels to the east are actually in Russian River, the larger appellation. So we actually designate this as Sonoma Coast, although we could do it as Russian River. It just follows our profile that way. This blend is a co-ferment of 115, which brings this wonderful sort of cherry red fruit profile and wonderful perfume. Dijon 828, which has a real brightness. It's quite late to ripen, but we harvest these in the same day. So that's usually lagging behind, but it brings together this really nice crunchy fruit and vibrancy to the blend. And then also 2 kind of selections that they have. They refer to them as Cruise and Elite. They both have parentage from Burgundy, directly from Burgundy. There's probably some stories about how they got here, but I'll let Kirk tell those stories. But those bring this really sort of real true Pinot Noir, that earth and spice and deep red fruit. So together, they really make a wine that I think is very nice in hue, light in hue. There's not a lot of depth of color. This is, again, quite ripe. It's a 2018. We really allowed this to hang on the vine a little bit. But there is just a wonderful lifted red fruit, that mineral forest floor notes come out. I'm getting this kind of orange pico tea kind of aromatics as well. But I really love the palate of this too. That's got a really nice sort of crunchy tannin, very, very fine. There's a vibrancy and a lift to this wine. It's pretty youthful and pretty young for 2018. I think all in all, that was just a fantastic vintage. But I really, really think this wine's going to be around a while. Enjoy it quite a bit. And it's quite a bit different than the other Sonoma Coast wines we make from the Great Benoit Ranch, which are way down in the southern part, where we get that great influence from the Pacific Ocean through the Petaluma Gap, as well as through San Pablo Bay. So really, really incredibly diverse AVA, and it's really a lot of fun to have worked with these small little vineyards across up and down, north to south.
I think it's wild because Sonoma is such an awesome place. You mentioned farmers. The farming community of Sonoma is so important. It's such a big deal out there. And the dairy situation, at one time it was mostly dairy. And the sort of the nature of farming in just not just vines, but just farming in a place like Sonoma, the challenges and the advantages. And you guys choose to do Pinot Noir. That's crazy. I mean, I think that's just awesome. I mean, you've had this very diverse place that has. I mean, it's great for people. I mean, the client. It's like it's Pinot's like I want to be here, but it's also very, as you've mentioned, very hard to work with. So the fact that you guys are doing that and you are making Pinot Noir part of this land is just awesome. And the fact that you've retained across the board, what I've noticed is there's this beautiful retention of acidity in the Sonoma Coast. And then you as winemakers with your skill are able to fluctuate the fruit depending on where you're growing. And it's just so cool how you've been able to express the fruit from your specific areas while letting the acidity be the thing that raises those aromas up. It's cool.
I think Sonoma Coast is perfect for a Pinot Noir winemaker. We're Pinot Noir winemakers because we love that sort of diversity. We love that sense of place you get from one site to the next. And the range and the amount of abundance of drama and, you know, different aspects you get across the AVA is perfect for, you know, our kind of nutso sensibility as Pinot Noir winemakers.
Drama. I like that word with Pinot Noir. That works. Drama. It's a very dramatic grape.
I think it's also interesting. You touched on the diversity of agriculture in Sonoma County and the Sonoma Coast, and not to take away from Pinot Noir since that's what we're here to talk about. But you know, I'll walk a vineyard and right next door is a 100-year-old apple orchard, or you know, more inland, 100-year-old olive grove. So there's grapes, there's olives, there's stone fruits. I mean, it's just it's a really magical place.
It is.
And don't forget the Sonoma aroma either. With all the dairy farms around, there's a very distinct.
Oh, I thought you meant the cannabis. Sorry.
Well, there's that too. Yeah, there's another aroma that comes out during grape harvest, but yeah, we have
cannabis and wine. I love it.
We have to fight for harvest employees. It's a difficult task, when you can trim weed and eat pizza all day, or go and pick grapes.
Try Santa Barbara County where it's grapes, raspberries, and cannabis. And they're all gonna, one has to pay more than the other.
It's gonna start fermenting the cannabis and the wine, then we can just put it all together in one thing, and it'll be.
They're already doing that actually. So
of course,
I've tried some. I have. It's herbaceous.
I'm coming out. Of course, New Jersey just legalized it too, so we have legal weed. This is awesome. So I'm basically I'm done here because I got all the things I needed to go, but it's my turn. I need to turn this over to Stacy and Mike because I'm sure people have questions. I've been doing a lot of talking, so I feel it's time to kind of turn it over to you guys and see if these winemakers can answer any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Keith. Thank you so much to all the panelists. Mike, I think we've got several questions. Do we want to start a conversation with folks a little bit here?
Yeah, I guess just sort of working backwards. There was someone was asking about the unique characteristics of the Petaluma Gap. If you wanted to talk about that, Mr. Priest, I figured that you'd hit upon that as well.
Sure. Well, I mean, there is a diversity in geology as well. I mean, further to the west, you're getting into more valley floor, loamy, clay loam soils. But then you go further up into the hills, really sort of the boundary of our estate and the Petaluma Wind Gap, and you're getting a more volcanic, very rocky, very cobbly soil. So there's a diversity that way, but they all get this immense maritime climate. I mean, the fog and the wind just rolls through off of Bodega Bay through this gap. And then, we get the benefit of it and the other side of Carneros as well. But it really is a cool climate. And the duration of sunshine throughout the day in the growing season is shorter than some other areas. I mean, August is cold. I mean, you really kind of rely on August to be cold and foggy so you can get that extra measure of hang time and ripening, kind of slow down the ripening before it gets too warm.
Yeah, awesome. And sort of at the top, when we're talking cool climate, I think, with La Crema and Banshee that an attendee, a guest was wondering about she was saying that the alcohol looks tadly high. She doesn't say the wine was affected at all, but she was wondering how you can get sort of higher alcohol in a cool climate growing region, and how you guys work that.
Well, speaking for La Crema, this is our estate vineyard out there near Annapolis, and it is above the fog line for most of the day. So you get really ripe, or not ripe, you get really a lot of sunshine to help ripen the grapes. And it is the terroir. We've been talking about that for a while. I mean, it's, you get ripeness, you get different clones. It's surrounded by redwood trees. So you get the sort of, conifer quality and, blackberry, fresh blackberries. So, it also typically doesn't rain. So you could let it hang, for as long as you would like, but I like to pick in the mid 24s. So yielding an alcohol in the mid 14s.
I agree with that completely, as we kind of have like sister vineyards, or the vineyard, Whistler Vineyard, is also at 850 feet. So we're sitting up there getting nice and ripe, getting the sunshine during the day, cool influences every night, not too hot, not too cold, that coastal consistency that helps Goldilocks make the right choice.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that sort of wraps it up. There is one question for you, John, if you guys are still scoring Gap's Crown grapes.
Oh, actually, we never have.
Okay.
I have a colleague from a sister winery that seems to hoard those and won't give any up.
Yes, we spoke with her earlier this month.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. We dabble a little bit of vineyards like Hallberg Ranch and such, but we have so much to focus on in Grace Benoit. I mean, there's it's a pretty diverse area. There's 30 different vineyards on that ranch, so it keeps you pretty busy. Yeah. Jen's walked those a few times with me.
Yes. Years ago. That's a beautiful place. It's a very beautiful place.
Awesome. I think that sort of wraps it up.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. This is really, really fantastic. I do want to also just mention to any participants that maybe didn't purchase the wines in advance of this session, we are recording the session, and we do still have some wines of this particular 4-pack for sale. So if you either love the wines and wanted to buy another one for your cellar, or B, had an opportunity to say, wow, I really now want to taste these because of the yummy comments that were made throughout this, please know that those are available to you. Also, just a couple of final things as we round out World of Pinot Noir Wine Month. Thank you, Mike, for facilitating the Q&A. I want to turn everyone's attention to the silent auction. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at the silent auction, please do so. You can find it on our website at worldofpinotnoir.com, and you'll see the tab for the auction there. I've got to give a shout out to these producers and some fabulous donations that they have provided on the auction block. Thank you so much to Banshee. We have a 2016 1.5 liter of the Rice Spivak Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir. So Alicia, any comments on that? Cellar keeper there?
I'll take it. I'll take it. No.
And let me tell you, it kind of looks like a steal. The current bid right now is $157. So it feels like there's an opportunity, if somebody's a big fan, to move that one up there a little bit.
Yeah, that's a steal. That's a steal. That sounds like we should open it and have a party.
I like your thinking there. Moving on to en route, Michael, you generously donated 2018 La Pommeraye's Russian River Valley 1.5 liter. And that right now is only at $100. Man, I'm telling you, somebody better snatch that puppy up. That's another keeper in the cellar.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a steal right there.
It is. I'm logging on right now. Line.
And just to let you all know too, a lot of that those grapes are actually sourced from the Hallberg Ranch too, where with the Les Pommiers bottling. So Kirk and I have spent a lot of times together. John was not lying when he was saying they broke the mold with him. One time we were doing a vineyard visit and we were crossing 116, and I put my seatbelt on, and he used some choice words to call me that I won't repeat on this. On this video chat here, but essentially questioning my manhood for trying to put my seatbelt on. But he's awesome. He's the best. But amazing farmer.
Awesome. I love the camaraderie and the stories between you guys. So moving next to La Crema, Jen, I have a question. I don't think this is a typo, but it says that we have a 2019 La Crema Willamette Valley Pinot Noir.
That's possible. Then I guess you do. So yeah, Willamette Valley. It's we make a single Pinot Noir from Willamette Valley from 3 estate vineyards, and I think it's delicious. It's, it's a different. We're definitely moving north from Sonoma Coast. It's a different world up there, but if you're a Pinot Noir lover, I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
That's cool. Well, it must be really fun for you to source in all different places up and down the West Coast. That's very cool.
Oh, for sure. And just like John was talking about earlier, I mean, that's why we want to make Pinot Noir. It's the sense of place and, getting to work with all these interesting vineyards.
Awesome. And John, last but not least, I've got a 2017 Etude Heirloom Pinot Noir 1.5 liter that's on the auction block for you.
Nice. That's a dynamite wine. That's from a very special parcel vineyard at the Grace Benoit Ranch estate. And it's a collection of, we have 9 of these heirloom vine selections that are quite unique and rare. And they oftentimes always go into our state blend, but our most esteemed bottling is a collection, the best collection of those vines and those grapes every vintage. So this is a wine for the cellar. It can, last, 15, 20 years. And it's definitely my favorite wine.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for your generosity. Also, I have to give a shout out to our partner, Corvin, who has generously donated their new pivot system. So you will see those scattered throughout the silent auction along with some wine packs. And then, of course, a big shout out to United Airlines, who has been a huge partner with us in the last several years. I know folks may not be flying right now, but we're giving you some great deals to get ready for those future trips overall. So with that, I think I counted before this, we are down to 8 days left of Wapen Wine Month. It has been a fantastic month. We decided that since we couldn't all gather in person, that instead of having 3 days together at the Ritz-Carlton Bacara, let's make a whole month-long celebration. So I can't thank the winemakers enough for your time. You've all not only given for today, but all these winemakers have gone through a practice session as well and several conversations leading into this. So I just really appreciate the time. Keith, thank you so much for joining us from New York. Awesome.
Of course.
And we can't wait till we can gather. We look forward to 2022. Mark your calendar now. The first weekend of March, we'll all hopefully be back together at the Ritz-Carlton. But if you haven't gotten enough Pinot Noir yet, let me tell you, we still have a couple of seminars left. We have our final seminar tomorrow night with our Wapen Wine Case, with Master Sommelier David Glancy. We're going to be bringing the Biennacido, moving forward to the Central Coast on Thursday. We've got several Instagram Lives, Facebook Lives, and we'll round out the month next week back actually in Sonoma with our folks from Davis Bynum. So still a lot of content planned. If you happen to miss this or want to watch anything, the recording will be available on our website just shortly. So with that, I thank you all so much. Happy March, and keep drinking Pinot Noir. Enjoy.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.